Hello and welcome to the. Did someone just burp?
Maybe.
No? Oh, alright, sorry. Hello and welcome to the final episode of SteamLUG Cast for 2013. My name is Cheese and with me I have a bunch of monkeys. How you going, guys?
Hello!
Hello.
Hey everyone. Hello.
It's disturbingly convincing.
That is a very good monkey, Dorita.
Yeah.
I know. Thanks. So, as you can hear, we have quite a few people. Shall we all introduce ourselves this time?
Going alphabetically, starting with Dorita.
Oh, yeah. Hello, I'm the Ritter. And we introduce ourselves how? Because,
You just say hello and your name.
well, hello.
And your name.
I already did that.
God damn
Professional
it.
cast.
I cannot wait to edit this.
Yes, it's gonna be great. You edit nothing. This is your phoning it in end of year episode.
Hey peeps, I'm John.
And hello, I'm Saltfisher.
Hello, I'm Mim.
Excellent.
That was alphabetical. Great.
Was it?
No.
No, it wasn't. It was far from it.
We're so good at this.
I honestly thought Cheese was going to say hello first, because, you know.
Oh, I did. I said my name first.
Anyway,
Yeah. I think we follow the Australian alphabet.
Alright. Yeah, the Australian alphabet. Yep.
It starts and stops at B for Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce. So, again, apologies to anybody who's tuning in for the first time. We normally have a slightly different air to the cast. But, as this is the last one for the year, we're going to make it fun. I might quickly whiz through a recap of some of our past events. We played some No More Room in Hell a little while back, guys. You remember that?
Nope.
I wasn't available to play, but I did hear it was quite full. Was it not?
Yeah. We had Dorita and myself and, I don't know, 4 or 5 others, I think. All I know is that I suck at punching zombies.
Yeah, there were a lot of people getting eaten by zombies. A lot of them. It's like nothing like Left 4 Dead. You have to be really careful.
Couldn't find any weapons. But yeah, we also, Swordfisher, you streamed some Secret of the Magic Crystals for everyone.
Yeah, I did that twice. The first time didn't go that well. We had some major delay and a lot of technical issues. But the second stream worked out fine. And I managed to play through in about 1 hour on the stream. But I eventually got tired because I had played for 8 hours before that.
Yeah, that stream went really well. Had quite a few viewers, a few
Yeah.
people on Mumble asking questions, and the lag on Twitch apparently is a new feature they've added. So we're not alone in getting that frustrating delay between live and stream.
You can disable it. The stream delay is for esports broadcasts, so people don't get an unfair advantage if they see what's happening live. You should be able to deactivate stream delays.
I haven't seen an option to disable it.
As far as I'm aware, it's rolled out to everyone. I don't know there's an option.
Yeah. I know everyone was cranky about it.
That would be a bit stupid.
Well, we might have to look into that then.
We also had another Worms Reloaded event, which was a bit of fun. Blow some stuff up. It was good.
Yes, and it also had a number of technical issues. This game is so good, but it took us a while till we had our second lobby actually working and being able to invite players.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, like once you get into a game, it's usually pretty darn solid, but it's just like getting everyone into a lobby part that's awkward.
Didn't you time out 5 times, though?
I did. I don't know why. But, moving on, we also had a Counter-Strike Source event, which I wasn't around for. Any of you guys catch that?
Yes, we were around for that, but not many people showed up, and we decided to join a random public server, and we ended on a French server full of pros, and that was set up to automatically kick people with a ping of over 70.
Oh, goodbye, Australia.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's awesome. So as far as upcoming events go, this year, we've got Left 4 Dead 2 after the cast. We're hopefully going to have a whole bunch of new people, with Left 4 Dead 2 having been free recently. And then tomorrow we've got some Guns of Icarus online, which I hope we also get a good turnout for.
Sorry, I've got these Eskimos in my mouth.
Yeah, of course you do. Okay, so related to other community stuff, On Linux Gaming, we decided to go community moderate for a month, which means that us, the moderators, John, Power Talk, and I, won't be moderating the subreddit, and see how that goes.
We're pretty much having a holiday.
So you guys going to be observing, or?
We've had a couple of users post that they'd like us to be more hands-off. So we thought, well, we'll show them what that will be like, whether it will go to hell or not, and we'll see.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Be neat to hear how that turns out.
Yeah, if it works out fine, then it's great for us because we had to spend less time moderating the subreddit. If not, yeah, that's great too because that shows us the rules are necessary. So.
Yep. So you've been doing some work with export this week, haven't you, Sword?
Yeah. Last year, I moved the big list of Linux games, Flip once made, to Markdown, so we could use it on GitHub. Then a couple of days ago, I changed the format to JSON, so we could converge with SteamDB instead. So now they can pull out information better and whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to how that's gonna look in the coming days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be good to see that moving ahead. It's been great to watch that take off, as I think when Flipit was managing it, it was before the Steam for Linux stuff hit. It was mostly looking at games that were on Steam, which also happen to have native clients, and how things, how you go about getting those native clients running with the data from the Steam installs. But since Steam for Linux is out now, it's taken on a whole new life, and it's great to see it to continue to evolve.
Yeah, it has turned from a propaganda tool to a rather unspectacular fact sheet, but it's nice to have all the same.
Well, I find myself referring to it a bit. It feels like it's pretty useful, and it's integrated with SteamDB, which is nice as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And John, myself, and Roberta Zek, providing I'm pronouncing his name correctly, we've been working hard on getting those outstanding cast archives up and ready to go, and I think we're pretty close. Is that right, John?
Yep, all the files are ready. We're just getting through the notes and just checking things, and then we have to push them live without overwhelming people's podcatchers or whatever. We are going to push another change in our site, possibly next week, that might mean that your podcatchers see duplicates. But if you see that, just ignore it and delete those extra episodes.
Yeah, we'll try and do what we can to minimize that, and we'll make sure it all happens at once so that it's not an ongoing thing. But yeah, fingers crossed that it's all smooth.
Yeah. So,
SteamOS.
Yeah, I had some concerns about that. Even though it's great for gaming on Linux, I'm hoping it's not going to be the norm that the developers are going to launch the games in full screen in order to satisfy SteamOS instead of ordinary Linux gamers.
Man, when you brought that up in IRC, my stomach dropped. The other implications there are it's all scary.
Yeah, and the thing is, I just woke up and like a nightmare, and just, oh my god, what if this is true? And then I just ran to my computer and I had to type it on RC, So yeah, but it can be mitigated, They could have an app config for SteamOS and one for other distributions, or have people use specific launcher scripts and whatnot. But I'm not gonna see that happen, I'm pretty sure.
That's a scarier thing if they're going to have separate, apps or depots for it, because
yes,
maybe they wouldn't support Linux and just SteamOS. I mean, I doubt Valve's going to give them the opportunity to do that, but
yeah, and we might end up in like when they launched the beta, that some games would work and some would only show up on the client but not work and all that stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, it was sort of the start of this year that they brought in the runtime that has smoothed over quite a lot of those issues.
Yeah.
And I think if developers, as they're shown through the SteamWorks program, to target the runtime when they're compiling and the rest, and if they also use SDL2, they're going to find that an awful lot of their issues between SteamOS and Linux aren't there, rather. So then it's really down to what the developers do when they're either bringing console ports over or Windows ports over, and we just have to encourage them that these changes are worthwhile. And as we've seen with quite a lot of Windows games from console, quite a few of them are untidy. So
Yeah, isn't it already the case that most games launch into full screen and every bit of configuration has to be done in game?
I hate that. Not every game.
I mean, Metro doesn't even have options.
Yeah. That's pretty much the case at the moment.
And even Source Engine games are launching into full screen by default.
But the thing is, on a Steam OS machine, you will probably only have one monitor instead of your usual Linux machine, where you will have multiple monitors, where a full screen setup can ruin a lot of it.
Well, I mean, we're already seeing that with people just testing on single displays. Either they're using a virtual machine or their development system just doesn't have more than one.
Exactly.
And in the same way that you see developers just targeting Ubuntu, so they don't set stuff like window icons or window titles or other bits and bobs like that, because they don't notice that other distros have different behaviors and different rendering.
Yeah, one of the major issues I had with multiple monitors would be that the game would launch full screen and read my configuration incorrectly. One of my monitors is offset by 186 pixels, which meant that some of the window would be not visible in the game, and some of the rest of the UI would be offset, so I couldn't click on buttons, which basically means I had to close down the game and edit the configuration file myself.
Yeah, I've had that with a couple of games as well. Just that they just can't really handle dual screen properly, and you can't even change the settings because it's so messed up.
But it is good news that the controller will flawlessly work on Linux or SteamOS, so that's less of a worry, isn't it? Being just a human interface device that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think there's anything particularly custom about SteamOS either, apart from the compositor, but that's such a minimal thing that I don't think is going to cause that much of an issue.
And that's only there for better integration with the overlay, right?
I have no idea what they were thinking about it. I mean, so far they have been sitting on Compass. And of all the Ubuntu things, Compass is one of the ones that is still the most non-canonical bound that can be used almost everywhere. So I have no idea why they did that with a compositor.
Just bringing up the FAQ, because I'm sure I read about it. Custom graphics compositor designed to provide a seamless transition between Steam, its games, and the SteamOS overlay. So is the SteamOS system overlay different from the Steam overlay?
It is slightly, just in the way that it doesn't stall on some of the things that the overlay does on Steam Linux, just because of how they can hook into it. So you actually get a far smoother experience on SteamOS than you do on Steam for Linux, just with the way it hooks into the game's rendering.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's kind of neat.
There's still a PSA about SteamOS that I want to make, that I have made a couple of times in the IRC, but there's still some people that seem to think that SteamOS is meant to replace your desktop Linux or any desktop operating system.
Well, it still could, though, couldn't it? It's still a Linux system, so...
Could, but it is absolutely not meant to do that.
Yeah. It doesn't need to, but it could.
And you are probably wasting your time and going to sit on a Debian that by default doesn't have all the repos, and if you put in the repos, it will be a bit out-of-date software because it's based on stable, so...
Yeah.
Don't do that unless you are building a dedicated gaming PC.
Well,
Or unless you want that kind of experience.
yeah, I think SteamOS is targeted at the out-of-the-box experience, where you don't need to do any configuration and such, but you have the possibility if you want to.
Yeah, it's very much an OEM distro that people can play with, but you don't need to, really.
So there's now Steam now has this family options thing. Did we talk about that last cast?
No, I think we didn't.
I don't think we did.
Steam's now supporting the ability to disable features and games within the client for... Is it age restricted, or is it just, you flag a sub account on it or something?
You lock down the entire account, and that's pin secured. But you can either completely restrict stuff, or I think you can restrict it on a per age rating basis.
Yeah, so it's one account, and you select which titles you want to allow in your family mode and which titles you don't want to be in your family mode, and you just got to enter a pin to get it back to normal. And you can also choose to deny or allow particular Steam features, like the store page or Steam community.
The parental controls were in the blog post for Steamos.
It seems like it's only useful if you're sharing an account. Ah, yes. Yeah, I suppose that would have been.
Well, I love that option. My nephew is going to get his computer any day now, his first computer, and facing it, you have to somehow give him a Steam account if he wants to play all the games he wants to play. And not having parental control options was the biggest problem I had with that before. So now I can gift him Starbound and not worry that he will somehow end up with a free Left 4 Dead 2 copy.
'Tis the season for a Steam summer sale? Are you guys mad? For a winter sale. Have you guys bought any good games?
Well, it's the Christmas sale, isn't it? We had the winter sale.
Yeah, it's the Christmas sale.
It's a problem with Australians. So have you guys bought anything interesting?
Not that I can remember.
I bought Shadowrun Returns, which I can talk about in a moment when we talk about the games we have played.
You choose.
Let me have a look. I don't think I've bought anything.
And Mim?
I don't know, there hasn't really been anything exciting for me.
No. It's being one of these person who picks up games over the year anyway. An awful lot of games are on sale that I've already sadly purchased. A bit disappointing, but...
I mostly buy the Humble bundles instead. Or in the Humble store, because some of the games are usually cheaper there.
It's been interesting to see the ratio of Linux titles that show up in the community choice section.
Yeah.
It seems fairly random. There's no guarantee that there's even one title in it, sometimes it's all three.
Yeah. But, moving on. Let's have a bit of a chat about the things we've been playing lately. Swordfisher, what have you been playing?
Oh, a lot of games actually. I mentioned Secret of the Magic Crystals.
Woohoo!
Then I've been playing a bit of Legends of Aetherius again. And recent Flip It AJ by Bo port called Rogue Legacy, which is a pretty neat game actually. If you're into the die, start over games. And then a couple of other titles, for the Awesome, which is a odd game. Then a bit of Starbound, which didn't quite catch me. Some
Heathen!
Yeah, well, I just don't like, you don't have a, like, the only place you can live is in your spaceship. Yeah, I want to build a castle, but I can't fly around in a castle, so, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
You can set a planet as home.
Yeah, not the same for me. Then
It feels like it's got a long way to go, Starbound. I've been playing it a little bit.
yeah, well, it's early access, so yeah. I'm looking forward to see where it's headed, though.
I enjoyed the bit that I played a while back, but I haven't picked it up again since, really. It's kind of fun so far, but I'm interested to see how it grows.
Yeah, that's the problem for me with the exploration type games like Minecraft or Terraria. I'm just gonna end up playing the game too much in the early stage, and then I'm not gonna play it at all when it gets released and had all the nice features.
Yeah, that I can agree with. I have also stopped playing it, and I'm definitely waiting until the last character wipe has happened and the game has progressed so far that I can at least keep on my progress.
Then I played a bit of Prison Architects, which was okay, I guess. Some Forced Edge was quite fun. Electronic Superjoy. It has some kind of odd way to bind the keys, so now I can't play the game because all my keys are just messed up. Every time I try to rebind a key, it will just go crazy, and now I can't use the menu at all.
That's insane.
Yeah, I haven't bothered with it. I just give up now. Whenever a game doesn't work, I'm just gonna play something else. I'm just not gonna spend time with it. And then I played an awful lot of Dwarfs, which is a odd game. Unfortunately, they're 32-bit, so I sometimes get out of memory because I get so many drops on my screen. Yeah, and that's it for me.
Jeez, what have
Jeez.
you been playing?
Don't ask all at once. I mean,
Jeez,
having
what
a
have
bit
you been
of
playing?
Worms Reloaded. Nice. So I've been playing some Worms. Been playing some Assault Android Cactus. So you can come back to that in a bit. Some Monaco. A friend of mine bought me Spelunky, and since I upgraded my machine and can use new wine, I can run Steam in wine again. And I've been having to go at some of the daily challenges and sucking greatly. Had a little bit of a go of Planetary Annihilation. Still kind of getting the hang of that, but it's fun. Been testing some gear up, and I took some time out to play Poker Night 2 as well. About you, Dorito?
I've been mostly playing Shadowrun Returns this week, which is pretty underrated, I think. It's quite good, quite well written, even though the overall game is a bit simplified. It doesn't really have anywhere the depths of a Baldur's Gate or whatever. But it's good at what it does, and the real value seems to be in all the community-made stories. It has workshop integration, and there's already a lot of really high-rated content on there. So I think I paid less than 10 euros. I will get a whole lot of value out of it in the long run.
Cool.
And as always, some more Dota 2, because Dota 2. And I also played Verdun, the World War I shooter that's currently in early access. And holy smokes, Batman, that's a really clunky-ass broken game so far on Linux.
Ah,
It has
let
all
down.
the
I thought you were going to say it was amazing.
No, it has all the outstanding Unity issues, mouse problems, locale issues. It doesn't want to save my config at all. I have to rebind all my keys every time I start it. It doesn't even have a good matchmaking system. Instead of just joining a server like in any other first-person shooter, you have to join squads, and the overall gameplay doesn't know what it wants to be. If it wants to be a bit realistic like Red Orchestra, or if it wants to be more arcadey. And as a result, I can simply not recommend it.
Damn.
Which game was that?
Verdun.
Okay, I'm gonna buy it then.
Have fun.
I remember when we were talking about it back in episode 13, and we were kind of you were saying you didn't know what kind of damage model it had and stuff, and I was starting to get wistful and think that maybe it might be a successor for Codename Eagle. But if it's that bad, then I'm not going to bother checking it out.
It was about £3 rake, so, decently cheap.
And Mim, what have you been up to?
I have been playing a little bit of Assault Android Cactus, a very little bit. I've mostly been playing a lot of Faster Than Light. I recently discovered that you can rename characters and the ship, and so now I have to name them all. And as soon as I discovered this, I was like, yes, I will make the Cheesemobile. And I made Cheese my pilot, and I had me, and then I was like, well, it's an extra person, so it can be our cat. And then on the second turn, Cheese died, and he just wouldn't shut up about it. That wasn't my fault.
That was so sad.
Yeah, so I did my best, but, you had to go be hero and try and save people from giant spiders or something, and he died straight away, and then it felt really bad. So yeah, but other than that, I do tend to do better when I rename them because I'm more invested in my ship. It wasn't my fault! I was trying to be a good person! Distress! What would Picard do? He would answer the distress call, then he would try and save people. You died like the Picard who didn't die. Anyway, also, we were chatting with some people in the Mumble thingy and talking about how terrifying what's it called? Amnesia is. And somebody recommended that I try this game Slender or something.
Yeah, Slender.
Yeah, so I tried a bit of Slender, and my mic unfortunately died for Mumble while I was playing it, but I think Cheese left his open and people got to hear me scream, and yeah, it was.
Stop touching your headphones.
I can't. I'm trying to keep them still. My headphones are very bad and crackly. Is that what's going on?
No, it's when you I think it's when you move your jaw, the
God,
boom that
sorry.
the mic is on
Moving my
moves.
jaw when I talk.
That seems better.
Sounds like British news television.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Sorry.
It's really distracting. I was trying to tell you guys what I'm playing, and Cheese is doing the dance of the crackly microphone around me. So.
And John, what have you been up to?
I bought Gone Home. I opened that up. I played it all the way through. It's a lovely story, but I don't know. It's one of those games that's borderline a game, and it frustrates me that it didn't have more than it had of what it had. I've been playing Overgrowth a little bit, just the arena mode. Just running at walls, kicking rabbits in the head. How that game is. I got Legend of Dungeon, which is a procedurally generated roguelike dungeon, and that's pretty damn neat. It looks great. It plays a bit janky with sort of having an inventory wheel that you've got to cycle through to get your active item. But yeah, that's not bad. And mostly I've been playing a bunch of games that I can't talk about yet.
So what do you think of Overgrowth? How much have you gotten to play?
About half an hour. I think the problem I was having was the AI was learning too quickly and kicking my butt. So yeah.
Are you playing the arena mode?
Yeah, just the arena mode. I didn't get through to anything else yet.
The sandbox mode's sort of a nicer place to learn.
Yeah.
The mechanics are really interesting and do take quite a while to sort of wrap your head around, I find.
Well, I've been following the dev blog and I'm subbed to their YouTube channel, but I'm really waiting for the game part of that to appear. The mechanic side of it and the rendering are top notch, but I want to see what they're going to do with the because I've played Lugru with the sort of story campaign, whatever you call that, and that was underpopulated. Let's just say. I mean, they could have done far more in that, but yeah, I look forward to seeing where Overgrowth goes.
Yeah.
So, gaming news.
Yeah. Assault Android Cactus got a big content update within the past couple of days. You got a couple of new levels and new set dressing for some of the existing levels. Revolution now looks like a disco and has this kind of audio visualizations that work with the music on the backgrounds of the walls and stuff. It's kind of neat. There are a bunch of new enemies in as well, which are cool. I'm guessing that you guys haven't had a chance to play that at all.
I still haven't bought that. I've just been busy with other stuff.
That's cool. I managed to hold the number 2 rank for Revolution for a little while. Last time I checked, I dropped down to number 3.
Oh.
But yeah, it's fun. Lots of fun.
Mm-hmm. I do like the fact it's being talked about on Twitter quite a bit. People keep focusing on the fact it's quite a Dreamcasty game. That's just from its pace and its appearance, and sort of.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, just constantly reaffirming that and saying that they can see it. I don't think I've ever seen a Dreamcast myself, so I don't see that. But yeah,
okay.
I just never had a console really, so I don't come across this stuff.
I didn't until I was old enough to buy one myself, and that was an N64.
Ah. I even thought you said you were 64.
No, I'm much younger than
How old
that.
are you, John? You have a very young voice.
Why, thank you.
Actually, if you didn't know it, he could pass.
For 64?
Go.
Really? Get out of here.
If that was the first thing you said to somebody, I'm actually 64, they would think you sound a little young, but you would pass.
Moving on. Looks like Talk 3D, the community has continued some of the porting efforts after their crowdfunding campaign failed, and it looks like some progress is being made there. Talk 3D is a sort of game engine with end-to-end content creation and game development toolset thing for anybody who's not familiar with it.
So is that the whole tool set and all the editors as well, or just the engine part?
I'm not 100% sure. I got the impression it was the editors as well.
So some competition for Letworks and Unigine in that space.
Yeah, it would be, the more diversity at this point, the better, I think. I think, everybody's got the opportunity to learn from and benefit from having more diversity in the area. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and this one is actually under a free license, it seems. So, yeah, that would be an advantage.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm interested in it. And Space-Based DF9 has had a major update as well.
So what's the state of the game? What is new?
There's a whole bunch of fixes related to AI behavior and pathfinding, which make it a whole lot more playable than it was during Alpha 2. You tended to have a situation where one person would die and everybody else would get too depressed to fulfill their duties properly, which would mean that your base would effectively spiral out of control. So that sort of stuff's been fixed. They've added some new room types. There's a exercise room where the citizens will go to do their exercising instead of standing in the middle of burning air recyclers and doing their star jumps. There are also random meteor strike encounters, which now happen every now and again. They're bad things that you got to use a bit of care and attention to make sure that your people don't end up dying in a room that's being smashed by meteorites. You want to make sure that they get out of there and that they've got the equipment to go back in and fight the fires. They've also added some new controls to the security role, so that you can choose how many security people are going to go to an area, and I get the impression that they will wait until there's enough fellows to meet your demand before they go over, so they won't go over one at a time and get killed. You can also set rooms as claimed or unclaimed, and this will stop your technicians from going off to random bits that you've found on derelicts that you're not interested in. And it's pretty hard to manage your base when all your technicians are off repairing some crap that's not actually benefiting your people.
That sounds like a lot of the same problems towns had, where people were just randomly going somewhere, doing everything strictly to hierarchy, and it wasn't exactly useful, and sometimes they would starve on their way.
Yeah, it's also in the update they've fixed some of that sort of stuff. So like people, when they decide that they're running out of air or that they need food, they'll make sure that they stop what they're doing with enough time to actually fulfill that need before they die. Because they used to have situations where people would be outside the base and they have a thing to turn back when they need air, but often they'll sort of finish something that they're in the middle of and wind up dying just outside the airlock. And if anybody is playing the game, I am collecting screenshots of any character's name's cheeseness when they die. So if you come across me, shower me with photos of my demise.
That's pretty morbid, but awesome.
That's how I roll.
So, since the last cast, Humble have launched a new indie bundle. This is PC and Android 8. They recently added some better than average games, but I'll just run you through the titles. We have Little Inferno, Gemini Rue, For the Awesome, Jack Lumber, Solar 2, Bad Hotel, The Bard's Tale, Hero Academy, and Anomaly 2. That's quite a few damn games.
Yeah.
Buy it for Gemini Rue alone. If you don't own it yet, you owe it to yourself to buy it. That's the best point-and-click adventure ever created, in my opinion. And if you don't like it, you're bad and you should feel bad.
I can't say I hate it, but I still like Sam and Max and Monkey Island and Simon the Sorcerer.
You can still like those if you admit that Gemini Rue is factually better.
Oh, I don't know about that yet.
And it is your fault for having a different opinion.
I think Gemini Rue might be the most mature example of storytelling in a game.
Okay.
In terms of mature from a technical aspect, not from a adults-only aspect.
Yeah, and even though the actual story itself is quite grown up. And we don't mean booby and violence grown up, but grown up.
But yeah, really awesome game.
So have any of you bought this or own any of the games that are currently in it and want to talk about them?
I'm still in the top contributors list.
Nice.
But have you bought it? Oh, sorry.
So have you played Hero Academy at all, Cheese?
No. Actually, the only games that I have played from this bundle are Little Inferno, Gemini Rue, and Solar 2. But Hero Academy looks interesting. Have you had a chance to play it?
Yeah, I've been testing that. It's quite an iPad game.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's not a bad game. There's quite a lack of depth in it, I think. And I don't know if you played it. It's a turn-based game. So you put your turn in, and then you have to wait for whoever you're playing against. So it's one of these weird ones that it's really designed for something you can just pop in for like a minute and then shut it, and then wait to get notified about the return. But
Yeah, then I should play it because I only play a game like 2 minutes in a row.
okay, but it's a shame that Steam's only just got turn-by-turn notifications, and the way they've done it, there has to be a server that tells Steam that there's a turn ready, and I don't think the game's architected around that. So I doubt it's going to get that, but it would be really nice if Steam could notify you when you get turns to play through the actual client, rather than having to load the game up to find out whether you've had any replies.
We could have a year-long event for Hero Academy then.
Well, okay then. Add me on Steam if you want to play Hero Academy with me.
Yeah.
I don't know when I might return your go.
People can hang out and mumble meanwhile.
So, what other games you guys played from this? Solar 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I played the for the Awesome, which is I don't know what style it is. It's like fall down from a building kind of game.
Yeah, it's like a base jumping sim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mixed with some old like in these gaming halls, you had arcade machines where it kind of resembles that, I think. Like Crazy Taxi falling from the sky kind of game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very vivid and bright and arcadey.
Yeah, very.
Is it like an endless runner where you can't stop?
Well, no, you have to jump from a building, and depending on the game type you're playing, you have to go through some hoops or go close to the buildings to get some extra points, and then hit some plates which gives you extra points again. And then before you end up where you need to go, you have to deploy your parachute and then land in an orange circle. But you have to do it in time, otherwise you squash your legs.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
And if you do it too soon, you might not be able to land on the landing zone.
Yeah.
Because, you drift around a bit as well.
It's pretty fun, but it's an odd game. I
was gonna say, disappointingly, it's got Rift support on other platforms, but doesn't seem to have Rift support on Linux. I reached out to the developers when the bundle launched, but wasn't really able to get a response from them about that.
I think every developer has a mailbox called Linux that goes straight to dev null.
I believe you'll find it goes to the recycle bin.
Yeah, that's true. That one. Another game people might have overlooked from this bundle is Little Inferno as well. A lot of people probably have it from some other indie bundle, but there's more to this game than meets the eye. At best, it looks like a joke on energy and timer-based casual mobile games.
Yeah.
But there's a twist in that game, which I can't spoil, or else there really would be no point in playing it anymore. You should play through it just for that twist.
I think on a previous cast I berated it for being pretty terrible.
I didn't mind it.
Did you play it through to the end?
Yes, all the way to the end. The end infuriated me because it was 20 minutes of clicking through text. I didn't appreciate the ending at all.
Which ending?
Yeah, that might be the risk of it, that you just don't care about that kind of ending, but it's about that ending. There is where the twist is. Where the game diverges extremely from what it has presented you so far.
The problem is it's such a shallow game that's not telling you much in the way of actually playing the thing. When you finish playing it, it then gives you a massive, chunk of what they've been, planning around in the background. And you think,
it's pretentious like butts.
Yes. And I mean, if it was literally just, you're burning all this stuff, and then it was a 2-minute video, and then it ends, I'd have been absolutely fine. But it was all the twaddle at the end. I was just like, click, get away. So yeah, I vented on that a couple of casts back.
The thing I kind of found irritating about it was that there's a hell of a lot of grinding that you got to do to get any kind of payoff, and then you get to the end and you discover that there may be multiple endings, and you go, I'm not really gonna sit through all of that again. But it's if you can enjoy the gameplay, if you can find some enjoyment in that, then yeah, I agree with Dorita that it's worth a look, and it's rewarding.
I guess, yeah.
At least you can say it executes its little twist rather well. You see it kind of coming, but you don't know specifically what it is, and when it's there, it will definitely surprise you one way or the other. And if you just want to play a game that's fun, play the Bard's Tale. The Linux port isn't all that good, but it's good for a laugh or two, and makes a lot of jokes about cliches in role-playing games. Why red drops like an entire kitchen sink worth of loot.
So, moving on to crowdfunding news briefly. The only thing we've got here in the show notes is Mims the Beginning, which sort of looks like kind of Spores Tribal Phase meets Populous.
Yeah, it definitely does look like that, doesn't it?
You got these tribe of cute dudes that crash land on a planet, and you got to look after them and help them grow their civilization.
How did you find out about this crowdfund?
I don't know. Actually, I think Expander threw the link at me.
It's just really surprising that it's 4 days in and it's only got $109. They really need to get on social media with this if they want it to do well.
That's a curse of Indiegogo.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to make a game, make it on Kickstarter if you can.
The other problem they've got is they're doing a fixed funding, which means they have to get $5,500.
Which is also way too low a goal to be considered legitimate, because you are not making any game with more than one person for more than 1 or 2 months with that little money. It's not going to happen. Even if you're finishing up, that just burns with a snap of your fingers. It's gone in a moment. I can't see how they are making that, even if they are all from Eastern Europe where wages are way low.
Well, it looks like the game's already done.
Seems like they've already gotten a fair way through the development, yeah.
Maybe they need the money just for distribution or advertising, maybe.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
It says their original schedule was expected to take 6 months. It's been 18 months, the game is 90% complete, and they want some additional funds to help push through the final stage.
Okay. Well, it certainly does look interesting.
So yeah, it does sound like that kind of, that last bit of getting distribution happening and getting some final polish going is what that's going to be used for. But yeah, the game looks pretty cute. Looks like it could be interesting. So they're also on Steam Greenlight. So if you want to give them a vote there, feel free. And on that note, I would like to say thank you very much to all of you guys who were talking, and also to everybody listening for sharing in the SteamLUG Cast with us. It's been a fun first season, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here. How you guys feel about it all?
Positively exhausted. In a good way.
Yep. But also, we have established something nice here, something that other Linux gaming-related podcasts don't do.
Yeah, I think this cast is more mature than other gaming casts.
Even though John Drinkwater burps a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny, I always thought that this was, really casual and not that professional and not that, serious. But over the past couple of months, I seem to get a fair bit of feedback from people saying that this is mature.
We're all those things. I mean, we're casually mature. We're not trying to be offensive and we actually try and be fair to the games we talk about. And we try and at least describe them enough so that people listening will get an understanding of why we don't like things or why we do like things. And I don't think we're not overly positive. We're not overly critical. So I think that's sort of why some people will say it's more mature. But yeah.
Well, all I can say is that, like Dorita says, and Swordfisher as well, exactly what you guys are saying. That if there's something unique that we're bringing, then this is fantastic. It's very special to be a part of.
Yeah, let's spice this a little more. What's our SteamLUG Cast New Year's resolution? I'll start. My New Year's resolution is to try to expand on our reach, to broaden our reach, because we really need to reach more people with our casts, I think. Once they are done and recorded and up for on-demand pleasure, we really should find a broader audience. I think it's out there.
I think we should look at our stats and try and understand our current audience, because I don't think we've done that yet.
Yeah, one thing I like to fix or maybe do something about is having another option than listening in a mumble. Like we did once with the Icecast stream. It would be nice if you can stream to YouTube or whatever.
Maybe mirror it to Twitch, What do you need? You need video for Twitch, don't you?
You can just make a audio stream with a static image.
Twitch is really grumpy about video.
Well, you can make a static image.
Yeah, but we don't want them to kick us off because even though we are gaming related, we're not. Because they are mostly a video streaming service, and
Okay.
and they've been kicking off PS4 video games that are mostly people having sex and the rest. So
All right, but we wanted to do. Well, we wanted to do YouTube Live for the streams of the gaming things. So
Yeah.
I guess we can use that as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think if we can pump that in and just have a static an image, then possibly we can just put that live on YouTube as a as a live recording of the cast, and then have an edited down podcast for people to download later on.
Yeah, there are several ways to do this, but the thing is, it has to be easy or automated.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise we'd have continued doing Icecast. I think it was just that, I think, were you the only person who'd done it so far?
Yeah.
And I mean, you wrote instructions down, but we're all kind of, I don't know, everyone's sort of busy at the start trying to get familiar with the show notes and forget about it.
Would be nice if it just automatically streamed when we join the SteamLUG Cast channel.
Yeah. I made a ticket for it on GitHub, and it should be pretty straightforward for us to do. What's that?
It's just some of the tickets are like a year old now, I think.
Yeah.
It should be pretty easy for us to do. With regards to what Dorita was saying, it might be nice to have Twitter cards for our cast pages that allow people to listen to the cast from within a tweet. So in the way that when you tweet a picture, you see the picture in the tweet.
Yeah.
You can also do a media Twitter card which has a little play widget. So that could be one way to play around with as well.
I did have a look at that. I think they request a format that we're not initially producing, possibly. Maybe M4A or something.
All right. Okay. All right.
I'll look at it again.
You sure?
But I'm fairly certain they were quite strict with the the format and the rest of it.
Well, we can still maybe put even just the image and the summary text for the episode just to facilitate it. Yeah. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what our iTunes stats are like. That'd be kind of interesting as well.
I think we're still at 0 reviews for that.
Oh, okay.
Just a bit sad.
No, because I've listened to the cast on my iPad.
Yay. So that's 2 listeners that I know of then.
Because I was in the toilet and I had to test it. Yeah.
So you and Jürgen.
Yeah.
So any other New Year's SteamLUGcast resolutions?
Yeah, I'll probably not buy as many Linux games because whenever I see games, that's March for Linux, I'm just gonna get it and I'm never gonna play it. I just
Yeah, I think I'm at that at the moment.
Yeah, I just hit 202 Linux games now. So
I think I'm just 10 behind you, Sword.
yeah, I think Welltall is above me.
Yes, it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm at 155.
Well, that time has passed. That time has passed for my wallet quite a while ago. There are now enough games to be picky on Linux, which is good news and would have been really surprising just 1.5 to 2 years ago.
The thing is, last year, at the beginning of the year, when they had the secret trading cards, I got drunk and bought a lot of cards and actually sold them for a profit.
Wow.
And I thought this time I might do it again. So I bought a lot of cards and sold it. So I actually earned almost 100 euros.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. So so everyone listening out there, it might be beneficial for you to get drunk and get on Steam.
If you could do the same with the stock market, you might have a marketable skill.
I've done that as well. So doesn't work all the time, but most of the time.
Do we want to go over predictions for the next year coming up?
Yeah, okay. You want to kick that off?
Not that I have any clue what I want to predict yet. Well, CES is just coming up. There's going to be more than a couple of Steam machines being announced, aren't there?
Yeah, I think.
There have to be, yeah.
They might even have an entire booth, or like an area where they are just showing the Steam machines.
Half shot. The problem I have with predictions is I know about some games that haven't been announced yet, so it's sort of I'm conflicted anyway.
And predict something different. Predict something that won't happen.
But not predicting something might say something. I do think we might see Left 4 Dead 3 sometime in the next couple of months as an announcement.
Either that or whatever they're currently calling Left 4 Dead 3.
Yes. You know, we know their controllers coming. Obviously, they're getting feedback from people. Steam machines are going out to developers across the planet. You know, things are looking quite up.
I feel like in-home streaming is probably going to be the most interesting thing in the early part of the year. Whether that does well or whether it's not received well, I have no idea how that's going to go down. But it has the potential to sort of really change the way that people use Steam and the way that people use computers around their house for gaming.
One thing I hope to see in the Steam client is Netflix and other streaming services, because that could potentially boost the amount of users for SteamOS.
I think that feels like a pretty safe bet with Netflix jumping over to HTML5 recently. Is that right?
Yeah, but still doesn't work on Linux.
Yeah, no, it's still requiring binary plugins for stuff. Just to answer ZeroDef,
Yeah, right.
who rightly asked me about, hang on, Steam machines aren't meant to be leaving the US. That's what they've said publicly, but we've seen a couple of UK developers tweet that they've got boxes, so either they've shipped them the model that doesn't have the Wi-Fi turned on or something, or that's just meant to be on the down low.
I think they had a special batch of machines just for their developers, and they handpicked those. They weren't in the beta tester bunch.
Yes, but they still have to have the right licenses agreed upon for the hardware.
A certification and stuff as well,
Yeah.
potentially.
Well, I was told that it was...
Yeah, but maybe, I don't want to say they did anything fishy, but it's easier to send a single box from somewhere out to one person in the UK, and nobody will bat an eye on that.
Maybe.
Well, that would be nice, yes.
But if you send an entire truckload of machines...
Well, in that case, it's time to start getting friends at Valve, I guess.
Jürgen!
Oh, he's going to love that.
Jürgen, give Steam machine, and then he will never talk to us again.
Please.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I predict that next year, Volvo is going to come out with their own Steam machine.
Their very own first-party machine?
I mean, think about it. They've already got the market.
Yeah.
Maybe built into the car.
And they're gonna brand it Diatide.
Yeah, they're going to call it Diatide and paint it orange. Well, I feel kind of sorry for what the community has subjected Volvo to. It seems awfully inappropriate.
But
Very,
they
very
loved it.
funny, but still quite uncool.
But I applaud Volvo's social media person for dealing with it so gracefully
Yes,
and
they handled
really
it really well.
excellent.
On Reddit and Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, we have gaming companies that have horrible social media person that couldn't deal with a storm in a water glass, but they just casually took care of that.
Right, I think
Yeah.
I want to add some predictions, if that's okay.
Predict ahead.
I predict NVIDIA adding Shadowplay support to the Linux driver in the next 6 to 12 months.
Mhm.
I predict that Twitch might possibly get working on actually a streaming setup for Linux. They're sort of a bit reluctant for that because of licensing, but I'm sure if we can bully them into using GStreamer or something, it might happen. And then I don't know what else.
Torchlight 2.
Now I have to predict as well. I predict AMD's graphics drivers are still going to be poop next year, and that one Steam machine that has an NVIDIA has an AMD card will do extremely bad because of that, and maybe even sour the overall opinion on Steam machines.
Well, come on now. We're meant to be predicting things, not...
It's a prediction. It's a prediction.
We know that's going to happen, so...
I'm a scientist, damn it! I don't do reading the glass ball.
It wouldn't surprise me if BBC iPlayer gets supported fairly easily. Any predictions,
I
Sword?
predict that Steam Chess will come back.
I don't have any predictions, just have hopes maybe. Yeah, that one day Steam would have a nicer way to skin it. Because I'm so tired of large fonts.
Oh, jeez.
I need a monitor for each font, each letter, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so damn huge. And if you change the fonts, it will not scale them correctly. So if you have too small a font size, it will look very bad. And you have to reload Steam every time you change something in your font file. Oh, not font file, theme file. I just hope that Valve would make some touch-ups on the client itself.
Yeah. Another prediction I want to put in, they're going to improve Steam to better handle internet connection problems, either with local caching or, just better handling of Steam being offline.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, because I'm going to be filing lots of bugs for them.
It's just, it feels like everybody's expecting people to be more and more connected. That, kind of always online expectations are becoming more and more normal.
Yeah, and the problem there is things get more and more broken with that expectation. Because, the internet's still not something like water that is regular and connected to everyone's homes. Well, even water isn't actually saying that.
Yeah, I agree. I hate that attitude, but it just seems to be, growing in prominence. I hope that it doesn't, but yeah, just kind of scared that it is.
With the way Steam couldn't handle the Left 4 Dead 2 load on Christmas Day and Boxing Day, it's a big worry that if they're going to start shipping consoles that, are going to need a substantial connection to Steam to get most of the interface working, it's going to be possibly a bit wobbly for that.
Yeah, when the Steam machines launch, it's going to be mad.
Do you predict that we will actually get the kind of queues we got for PS3s when there's really a good value Steam machine out?
If it's good value, probably.
Did you mean PS3 or PS4?
PS4.
Okay.
Console peasant machines, whatever.
PC Master Race.
Shots fired.
Them's fighting words.
I think it's going to be a very slow burning thing. I think maybe in a couple of years' time, Steam machines might become, all the rage. And even still, they're going to sell in the low 100,000s. Not the millions, not yet.
So, and Mantle? Going to be an AMD-specific bust, or are NVIDIA and maybe Intel picking it up, and we are actually seeing a new graphics API that's going to be widely used within the next year?
I think the former seems more likely.
I think what's going to happen is dev studios, the ones that can afford to experiment will pick it up just to see whether it does better. It will probably do better. People will start thinking about buying AMD cards again. And I think rightly going to look at it and think, why would we support that? I just can't, even though it sort of makes sense for some things, I can't see Mantle having a strong uptake, really.
Yeah. What do you guys think is going to happen in the VR space over the next 12 months?
Pretty much the same thing. Oculus is going to keep developing theirs and sort of, the next one's going to be brilliant.
But Sony might probably come out with this sooner, and they will not have thought about the specific refresh rate issues and stuff that Oculus really tries to figure out, and they will bring a lesser product to market. Because that's what tweets so far seem to have indicated from people that might have gotten some. I expect them to botch this in a quick attempt at a money grab on the VR hype.
Well, the thing is, Sony's had quite a few HMDs already, so they've got experience in producing expensive products that no one particularly thinks is brilliant. So yeah, I'll think that might happen.
I'm most interested to see what Infinity and Vortex are going to do.
Vortex would be Valve's HMD.
For the market balance in this kind of consumer space. And Infinity is the super wide FOV thing that some French guys are working on at the moment.
I think they're all part of the same puzzle, really. They're all working together to push VR. It's going to be like Highlander. I think Oculus has got it in mindshare already, and it's just down to producing lots of units to get the cost down that should make VR a popular thing next Christmas, possibly.
It was tough though if they push the price down too far, and they're talking about trying to get hardware partners where you'll get a free Rift with your graphics card type thing. If they push stuff down that far, then nobody will be able to compete.
How could they get it down? I mean, I can buy a replacement screen for my phone at the moment for £35, and that's a 720p, nearly 5-inch display. So, I mean, possibly they could get the Rift down to 100 unsubsidized, but it's the manufacturing and distribution that's the problem.
Yeah, but they will definitely set the tech standard. They will, even if they might be the VHS of the virtual reality headset, which I doubt, at least they will set a price standard which with which the up-and-coming competitors will have to fight, and that will be beneficial for the consumer.
Exactly.
Better tech will be the outcome anyway, because that always happens.
But yeah, I'm sure I spotted a blog post where Lucky was talking about the possibility of a zero consumer cost.
So what about Leap Motion, or what was the other one that's the 6 cents or whatever it is? Do you think they're going to do well this next year?
I don't know, but like nobody seems to be making Leap Motion stuff for Linux at the moment, which is kind of sad.
I think the problem with Leap Motion is it's the same as Connect. It's one of these sort of wishy-washy. It has to analyze what your hand's doing, so it's not perfect. And because of that, it can get confused. And when you get confusion in trying to do something, it can do something that you don't want to do. And unless it's something like a power glove, where it's physically attached to your hand, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get the sensing that you need for these things.
Yeah, I do feel like gloves are where things are likely to end up being most interesting. The thing about the 6 Sense is that you gotta, I don't want to hold stuff. If I'm holding stuff, then I'd rather it was a joystick that was anchored to my desk, or I'd rather it was a mouse.
Well, I don't expect anything from motion controls, because the problem that plagues motion control is absolutely fundamental and not that easy to solve. You just don't have feedback if you are not actually holding a physical object with weight, or punching an actual person, climbing an actual wall. That feedback can't just be got out of nowhere. And that will always be the big disconnect, the big problem motion controls have. Unless they really strap you in a machine-powered harness that keeps you in place.
Have any of you had a Wii or a PlayStation Move controller or something?
I have a Wii.
How's the motion sensing for you with that?
Well, I only have it with the regular controller that originally came out. I don't have the Motion Plus, but...
Oh, you don't have the Motion Plus? Okay.
I mean...
Even with the Motion Plus, it's not amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It's not good. I mean, all the sword fighting stuff is completely flaily, because you just don't have a heavy sword in your hand, and every time blades connect...
Yeah, you don't get that.
They instantly disconnect in the game, because you can't mimic this with the motion controls.
So, does it not have rumble then?
Just does not work. It's proven to not work.
Emotional controls?
It has rumble, but what's rumble? It's like your thingy shakes a bit. I mean, it can't make you stop midair because you're cross-blocking with the other guy.
Do you need to feel that kind of resistance?
I would say yes.
For somebody that has been in martial arts, yes. Everything else is just bullshit flailing around.
I guess. I don't know. Are we talking for specific applications, or just to be usable as a HID?
For immersion, for...
Having the feedback...
You can use it.
If you're reaching your hand out and there's a wall in front of you, and your hand continues moving while the object you're holding doesn't, that's going to confuse your brain. And
it's the uncanny valley of input. That's,
of VR.
If you're just on your keyboard and your mouse, you're disconnected enough to just get past your disbelief, get into suspension of disbelief, and just do what you do, and you immerse yourself properly. But if you're standing in front of a wall and your arm levitates and it feels like it levitates, where your brain tells you, hey, you should be feeling something now, and you don't.
Yeah,
That's uncanny valley of motion control.
I've never had those kind of issues. I don't think that your brain really tells you that you shouldn't be able to put your hand through stuff.
My brain tells me that all the time.
When with regards to virtual spaces, that's something you rely on your sense of touch to tell you whether or not you can pass through things. Your brain doesn't tell you about the physical limitations or physical restrictiveness of items like that.
Yeah. I was going to put a link in the notes and forgot. And that's about the Oculus Rift. They were talking about the next device and better managing the drift that you get from the motion sensing in the headset. And I've got a PlayStation Move controller, shockingly. That has very minimal drift. I mean, it still does. So when you're moving things in space, after a couple of minutes, you can feel that it's shifted by a couple of degrees. And after half an hour, you've got to reset it again. But playing with the DS4, it's got really good relative and absolute positioning. And, I really expect that the next set of controllers after this lot is going to give you that accurate positioning and movement with whatever you're holding. So I don't know. The fact that now the Steam Machine has a controller, but it's not a fixed console platform, so they can make new controllers whenever they want without bothering the titles that have already released. I'm quite excited to see what new innovations can come from this platform.
So, on that note,
that has been SteamLUGcast Season 1.
Yeah.
Thanks you to everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for the devs this year that have paid us attention.
Definitely. Thank you to all of our special guests.
And everyone who buys Linux games.
And most of all, thank you to our listeners.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you.
Woo.
We love you guys.
No.